Pleasure being here. Thank you so much for having us. Now, I want to talk all about what we do here, but I actually leave it a bit for a second. I want to tell you, well, I want to start chronological. I want to start with how everything started. So I'm going to start with me. It's my best photo. I always use it. Photo from like 27 years ago. Love the photo. Not that important. However, what is a bit more important from my early days is that I come from a family where everybody has a disability but me. I'm the only person in my family which doesn't have a disability. Both my parents, sister, nephews, and cousins, all of them have disabilities. Growing up in such an environment, I understood how much technology can help in order to help people, but also how little technology exists for helping people. Of course, growing up was tough. Didn't really have many resources. I know what hunger is. I know what not having a house is. But that's what comes when coming from such a family. So one of the first things I learned, and I'll get you to the glasses in a second, is that it doesn't really matter where you come from, but it really matters what you do about it. And let me tell you what we did about that. Roughly 3 years ago, 3.5, we started a company. We call it Lumen. Now, we started this company on the following premises. Today, we have 300 million people plus which have visual impairment. But they share the same two solutions for their mobility for thousands of years. The white cane for the blind and the guide dog for the blind. And now, that's great, but just to give you a bit of context, a guide dog, last year we spent 500 million euros and we only trained 2,300 guide dogs. A guide dog is above 200,000 euros. That is not scalable. So in the entire world, we only have 28,000 guide dogs to over 300 million visually impaired. That's not a solution. So we built one. And I want to actually show you what we built in a very short video. In this video, camera video in another trade fair, blind person, 74 years old, first time in their life, the first 30 seconds with our device on their head. And you can see what happened. No training, absolutely the first time. It just works. It does everything that a guide dog does, and actually much more, but it's way too little time to describe everything. But in seconds, regarding of age, regarding of language barriers, the technology works. So let me tell you a bit more about it. We call them the glasses for the blind. They replicate what a guide dog does. So if you have a guide dog, you can ask the guide dog to take you to an empty seat or to just guide you in general, and the guide dog will do this by pulling your hand, avoiding you from obstacles, keeping you safe. The glasses, they do exactly the same, even more than what a guide dog can do. But if a guide dog pulls your hand to guide you, we actually pull your head. So you'll feel on your head the device, how it pulls your head, avoids you from obstacles, guides you where you have to go. It's immensely intuitive. And we can actually be able to test it in one of our booths over there. Now, this is actually the most advanced assistive technology in the world. We built a self-driving car that doesn't drive wheels on the ground, it actually drives people. It's exactly the same technology as in self-driving cars, and we had to scale it all down to something which you can comfortably wear on your head. And the feedback for this is amazing. Expecting something like this to be possible, but not during our lifetime. Just one of over 300 blind people across the world which have tested. Videos of people testing this have reached like 50 million views across the world. Now, I like talking about the technology just for a moment. So to quickly describe, these three things are very related. We are the ones in the middle. We do everything the thing on the left does, but in the size of what happens on the right. So without going into a lot of technicalities, I'm an engineer, trust me, I can nerd out about this. We do almost the same level of performance of processing as a Tesla autopilot in something the size of a normal VR, AR headset. This is the most advanced wearable which you can put on you today and is designed for the visually impaired. Now, just to dwell a bit more in the technology underlying it is not the hardware, it's not the glasses, it's the software which does what it does. And it has a name. We call it pedestrian autonomous driving. What we did is that we invented the first system, the first software which can actually replicate what a self-driving car does on the pedestrian side. Everything a self-driving car does, heavily based on AI. We have our own data, own models. We tested this in over 20 countries, and they do not require any kind of internet connectivity or pre-mapping. It just works everywhere. And our first product, the glasses for the blind, applied, but we can use it for a lot of other things. For example, we can use it for delivery robotics, 62 billion euro market. One day, you'll order a pizza, a humanoid robot will deliver it for you in front of your door. That robot got there because of our code. The same code that guides blind people can actually take our humanoid robot and deliver your pizza. And of course, technology for the blind, this is why we started the company, or outdoor augmented reality. All of these are coming. Now, I can't spend enough time to discuss about our team. Absolutely amazing, 50 engineers and scientists. We just turned 4. Some of the most amazing people I ever met, ranging from people who were actually born blind and are part of the team, to professors from the United States, which came back in our country of Romania. We are from Romania. To some of the best industrial designers in the world. A lot of us are coming from the automotive world, and that's where we learn to do what we do in autonomous driving. I can talk a lot about the technology. I can talk probably even more about the team. We definitely know we know how to have fun and everything. And we brought some very interesting awards. For example, we won the Red Dot Luminary Award just a couple of years ago, like the Nobel Prize of Industrial Design. But more importantly, we enable blind people to do some things never before possible. This is part of a video we will soon publish. The first blind person in the world to go hiking on their own without knowing the trail, without knowing anything about the environment, and without any kind of assistance has happened a few months ago with our glasses. She was the first blind person in the world going hiking on their own, and we're actually going to publish that video pretty soon. The amount of recognition we get and the amount of partners we get, we couldn't get this far without some amazing partners. For example, NVIDIA is one of our partners. This is myself and Jensen, the founder of NVIDIA. Just 2 months ago, we opened the biggest tech keynote in the world, seen by 40 million people, when we opened NVIDIA GTC with the glasses. And we have a tremendous amount of support from the EU as well. We're from an EU country. We were actually the first startup in our country to be backed by the European Innovation Council, where we won a blended finance of almost 10 million euros. With all this experience, and I will invite you actually to test it. You can actually come to test it to our booth. Our booth is right in that direction. Turn first left, first right, first left, and that's where you'll find us. And that's where we do some demos. But the one thing which we learned, creating this company, more than anything else, and it became our #1 value in the company, we call it make meaning, not money. It means finding a problem, understanding it well, and continue understanding it. Come up with a solution which has one purpose: to help people. And if you truly help people, you'll actually get to the money. Our first value in this company is make meaning, not money. Money will come after. So I invite you all to test, to our booth in the back, and I'm here for questions. Thank you.
Stay there, Cornel. We have time for questions. I'm sure our audience might have some. There is a microphone coming around, so just raise your hand if you have a question.
There are a couple of questions, one in the back and one here. Feel free to scan it. It will take you to my LinkedIn. We'll love to be connected.
That is amazing.
Thank you.
Very amazing. So my question is, how do you think to combine your technology with maps?
With maps?
Yeah.
So we do use some very limited amount of maps. For example, a blind person, to give a practical example, they typically still use their smartphone and they use Google Maps or Apple Maps or other apps. A blind person can go on Google Maps, they can search, for example, a Starbucks, then can press share it with the glasses, and the glasses will take you there. But also the glasses can do this if you ask them. You can say, hey, Lumen, take me to the closest Starbucks. And this is already it's already actually tested and it works, and very, very soon we'll also know public transport. So we do use a bit of mapping data, we do use a bit of map, but the device doesn't particularly need to know the environment. So it works in any environment, but of course, I'm in the middle of nowhere and I want to go to another place in the middle of nowhere, I kind of need to know where that middle of nowhere is. So a limited amount of map we do use to roughly know where things are in the world. There was another question here in the front.
Thank you. Amazing technology. I'm
Thank
an
you.
ophthalmologist myself and have been waiting for something like that. The demos that you showed were in a kind of low speed environment. What about high speed, if it's crossing the road or something?
Sure. The device is faster than a human can react. We have blind people who have been running with the device. It takes a bit of training to get used with the speed of the device and how quickly to react. Otherwise, in 30 seconds, in a minute, you can already walk around. And we had earlier today people blindfolded walking around here with the technology. And that's something which you can experiment. The device is faster than a human can run and then a human can react. So it's not an issue for the device. It's an issue for the person to always track what a device does. One more question here.
Can I ask, what's the path to market? Is it a medical device?
This is a Class 1 medical device according to the European Medical Device Regulation. The device is coming internationally on the market beginning of next year as a Class 1 medical device. And FDA and other markets are following end of next year. So yes, it's a medical device. Our goal is to make it eligible for reimbursement, subsidies, health insurance, etc., so that as many people as possible can benefit from it. In our country, we come from Romania, this technology is going to be fully subsidized by certain programs by the Romanian state. And such programs exist everywhere in the world. We found over 250 such programs in the top 75 markets for us.
It seems like the self-driving technology and algorithms are very crucial for this product. How is the progress regarding patent for this algorithm?
Sure. So we have multiple patents across the world. We already have the first of those patents, the first two of those patents already granted in the United States. We're the only ones in the world who, from an IP standpoint, are allowed to do it at this point, at least in the United States, but shortly, our European patents will also be granted. So we're well protected, but we always have more ideas. Unfortunately, it's very expensive to have a global patent, and we're talking 50 to 200,000 euros to have a global patent. And even if we're not a small startup anymore, it's still limited resources. So we really take care a lot what we patent, what we don't, and how we do this. But already, today, everything I've shown you, and much more than I've shown you, is well protected from an IP perspective. We work with great companies across the globe to help us with our IP strategy. One more question in the back.
So first of all, congrats.
Thank you.
I guess the big question is feature detection or end-to-end training. And also you have obstacle detection, I guess, implemented. Do you also have like target acquisition? So if the person wants to get an object,
yes.
Do you handle
yes.
that?
So to describe a bit like on a technical level, the device understands the world geometrically. So where the ground is, all obstacles above the ground or below the ground. So this is an obstacle because I can fall. But also semantically, we determine that, okay, we have two surfaces. One is the side of what is a road. They're both flat, but one is not safe. We use AI to determine which one is safe or not. But on top of that, we detect hundreds of types of objects which are of our interest. Empty seats or used seats, benches, buses, we recently released, trash bins, doors, stairs, elevators, escalators. It's a long list. And we detect all of that, and in a very intuitive way, we either tell you about them or you can ask for them. And there's a bunch of great things which you can do. So for example, the moment you enter in a building with a device, you no longer have GPS signals, so you don't really know where you are. But the system remembered when you entered, and it can take you back there. So there are a lot of things which the device does. Way too much for a short discussion. It's a marvel of engineering, and it's a marvel of engineering which just sits on your head. One more question, one more final question, I think, because running out of time, I think. Sure. So crossing the streets, there are like 3 answers, and all of them are correct here. But I'll get back to the guide dog. A guide dog will stop you in front of the street, and it's your decision what you do. The same for us. We have a system which gives input. It's the user's decision what we do, what it does with that input. Because it doesn't matter if we give the input to go there and the user decides to go there. What happens is not our job. We do record everything and everything. The system can understand very well if it's safe or not to cross, but we'll stop you in front of the crossing, we'll describe what happens, and it's your decision what to do at that point, because we cannot take a decision for a human. We can give input for a human.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Cornel.
you.
I have a last question for you,
Sure.
which is, what has the reaction been from blind people, and when will this come to market? Will it be accessible for everyone?
Sure. So I'm actually holding a 2-year-old prototype. It's twice as big and twice as heavy as the production version, which is coming beginning of next year. We had one example. In a UN building just a few months ago, we had a family in which the mother was blind and the son was not. The first 30 seconds after the mom began walking with the device, the son began crying. That's the kind of reactions we're getting with this technology. So thank you so much for having me.